Okay, I'm going to go over the whole process for composing music. At this point, we're going to just start with the template empty project. So we could do the music for picture project, but it's kind of irrelevant at this point. So we're just going to cover the steps with an empty project. That'll make us pro level anyway. So empty project, it doesn't matter what we add here because later we can add all the tracks we want from the tracks menu. So I'm just going to click create. And then I go to the file menu, scroll down to movie, and pick open movie. I've got the movie in my desktop folder. You'll find it on our shared drive, and it'll be in the shared folder, movie trailers. So mine's in the desktop. It's got a slightly different name too, so don't be misled. It's down here at the bottom. At this point, I don't really realize where it's at, but there, it's at the bottom. There you go. Once you select it, click open, and then we're going to click OK on this to make sure we get the audio. We're going to click use 29.97 to make sure we're using the same frame rate that the video uses. Remember, you can close the window for the movie, and it'll show up in the inspector area. So you can move it, either close it out. It'll be in the inspector area. We're going to right-click on the global tracks header. We're going to choose show tempo. We're going to right-click again. We're going to choose show beat mapping. We're going to right-click a third time. Choose show marker. We could easily go into configure track header, but that's just the way we're going to do it. So composers are trying to figure out exactly where the key moments are in the movie that they're trying to write music for. So what we would do, obviously, we would sit down and watch it all the way through, but I've already done that. We did it in class. What we're going to do is find the first key moment. This is where the tempo goes up to speed. So right now it's kind of mysterious. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh my gosh, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and another. So right there is where I want the tempo to kind of pick up because we've got this sort of running scene in the middle. So I'm going to zoom in, command plus the right arrow will zoom you in. Command left arrow takes you back. So I'm going to scrub that playhead back and forth and realize I'm zoomed in so close that I'm within a frame. So I can drag a playhead for half a second before I even get to the next frame of video. So we're going to make a marker. Go up to the navigate menu, choose other, create without rounding. That's going to make a new marker. See, it's called marker 1. Click on the list, click on the marker tab, and then you can change the name of that to give it a name that'll actually make sense to you. So call it running. So now what we want to do is we want to line up that marker with some recognizable pulse in the music. So some beat in the music has to line up to that. So we get down to the beat mapping tab. When we click on that, or when we hover our mouse, we see that there's a little kind of an indication of the beats. I had to zoom out a little bit there. When you hover your mouse, you can see the beats. You click on a beat, and then you pull and drag it over to where your marker is. Make sure your marker is selected, so it's going to look white with the green text like that. That's how you know it's selected. One thing I did not do was line that up to lock to the SMPTE, which stands for Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. Thanks to V for telling us that. You want to lock that to time code, so it's not going to fluctuate depending on the tempo. Now that we've got it locked in, then we can change the tempo, and we'll use the pencil tool. T brings up the pencil tool. Or brings up the tool palette, and tapping T twice makes it go away. Then I click on that bar and drag it up. I decided 150 was a good tempo. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to find the next moment where I want to change the tempo. This one gets a little bit trickier. So the next moment that wants to change, kind of just based on what I'm seeing, is right there at the end when they all sort of come to a stop. And Leonardo, is that the one with the blue? I forget. He does his whole routine with his sword. So we want to do it maybe right there. We decided we want to stop right here. So I'm going to take the pencil tool, and I'm going to mark a tempo right in front of that. So this means when I make a new marker and I line that up to a beat, it's going to change the tempo just in this one little section. So I make my marker, create without rounding. I go over here, make sure you go back and select it, make sure it's selected. Give it a name that's, again, something I can recognize. And lock it to SMPTE, lock it to timecode. So now when I line up the beats, it's only going to change the tempo for that one little section right there because I basically gave it a permission to change tempo. So that's cool. We can do that. And now what I'm going to do is slightly more musically based. What I'm going to do is take this measure 28, and I'm going to show the signature. So instead of measure 28 beat 2, I'm going to make that a measure all by itself. So instead of 28 having 4 counts like every other measure, I'm going to park that playhead at the start of 28. I'm going to hit the plus button by signature, and I'm going to type in 1. So that's going to mean that 28 has 1 beat, and everything beyond that from now on has 1 beat. So there's measure 29 instead of the second beat. And I'm going to hit the plus button again there, change that to 4/4 time. So now I'm back at the start of a measure. So essentially I just made a little extra measure in the middle there, an extra count. So you've got 5 counts leading into that instead of 4 the way you normally would have. So now I decided that 80 is a pretty good tempo there, so I can drag that down to 80. And just as a side note, if you want to adjust tempos, you can grab hold of the node in between tempo changes. So drag this one on the right, pull it over a little bit, and you can adjust the tempo slope. So it'll actually slow down or speed up. You could do the same on this one if we wanted to. But obviously the one in the middle is not really going to matter very much. So we'll leave it alone. It's not really going to matter in one count. You're not going to be able to sense that it slows down. So now I'm going to go in here. I'm going to take loops. I've got an outline. I'm going to put together loops. This is what I think could definitely take you 2 days. And mix it together, balance it out, pan it left and right, add EQ. Then I go up to the file menu, down to movie, and then I want to export audio to movie. So I'm going to add my name here, Harold Music, so that I know I'm the one that wrote the music when I'm copying the file. And then change this to AAC. That's basically MP3 quality. Drag it down to either 256 or 320. So at this point, we've got a compressed audio file that goes with it. That's something we could email off to someone. Go ahead and click on OK, and that'll be the file to upload into Google Classroom.